Hello and welcome. Welcome to Aegean Dreams. My name is Sherry, and I'm an American woman living here on this Greek island with my Greek husband and my four Greek cats. Welcome. Today I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a story about the sound and light show of Salamina. Actually, there is no sound and light show in Salamina, but there are sound and light shows around the world. I know there's one in Giza. I haven't seen it. It's supposed to be fabulous, projected onto the pyramids. There used to be one in Athens. I had seen that. It was excellent. And I do know was one many, many, many years ago in Georgia, at Stone Mountain, Georgia. Well, my parents and myself and my son were driving up to North Carolina to go backwoods camping. And I said, "Oh, I read about this sound and light show at Stone Mountain. Let's stop there and we'll camp overnight and we'll see it." And I really talked him into it. I remember Mother and I stood in line a long time to get the tickets, and the tickets were pricey. And what they bought us was a seat on the grass in front of Stone Mountain, where the sound and light show was just laser lights shooting across this huge rock, kind of like Ayers Rock in Australia. It was dismal. It was so disappointing. But I have to say, it gave our family a wonderful, cynical anecdote because from that day on, anything that was underwhelming to the oomph, we referred to as the sound and light show. So that's the background that you needed to know for this story. Okay, now we're going to fast forward. I went on the cruise, I met Vasily, married him, sold my business, moved to Greece, blah, 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 blah. And I was here for a year. And my parents came to visit. Oh, I was so happy they were coming. And my parents think the world rises and sets by me. And they were just going on and on. "Oh, we're so proud of you. Look how you've adapted to your very foreign culture and situation. You're just doing great. And you're learning Greek." I mean, they just puffed me way up. And I think I was a little full of myself at the time. And I think that's kind of caused this little misunderstanding, shall we say. So it was one of the early evenings they were here, and we were sitting out on the balcony, and I'm going to show you the balcony. Um, and it's a beautiful view. And they were watching the sun go down while I was cooking on the grill and jumping in and out of the kitchen. And just then, one of these ubiquitous message trucks, I used to call them for a better word. And they were like an old car or an old van with a speaker system set into it. And they would go around announcing things. Sometimes they would be civic things like, "Hey, pay attention. Tomorrow your water is going to be out from 2 to 4, or this road's going to be closed," that kind of thing. But also, they could sometimes just be the junk man going, "For very little money, I will take your old hot water heater or your child's baby buggy." So you never knew. So I jumped out when I heard it coming in front because the road is right in front of the balcony below it to catch what he was saying. And I'm glad I did because he was saying something about for interpretation I got was a folk dance or folk ballet. They were using the word ballet, and that everyone was invited. But he had gone too far, and my Greek wasn't that good. I couldn't understand what he was saying exactly. I didn't catch the particulars, where and when. So I was really disappointed because this would be a great cultural thing for my mom and dad to happen on. But what are you going to do? But the next night, there we are, having a glass of wine, bidding the sun farewell over the mountain. And here comes the message truck. And this time I really focused. I put on my best Greek thinking brain. And this time I got it. I got it. It was going to be 8 o'clock the next night at close to the city hall. And there's a little platea there where there's a statue of Ajax or Ajax, you call him. hero of Salamina, and it would be there. So, of course, the next night we get all dressed in our summer finest and get in my crummy little car. I had a terrible car then, the Coquino Pontico, which means the red rat. And we drive down to City Hall, park the car, and walk around to the platea. And when we get to the platea, there was like 200 chairs set up, folding chairs set up, facing the statue where there had been erected a podium and a microphone. But oddly enough, and it was like 10 minutes before 8, there was no people. There was nobody else, just IX and us. So we sat down and we waited. And we waited some more. All in all, we waited about 40 minutes. And only at 8:30 did people start slowly trickling in and filling the seats, but nothing else. It was like a quarter before 9 before finally the speaker comes. And to my surprise, it turned out to be the mayor. And he gets up on the podium, and now I'm really focusing. I don't want to let my folks down. I want to catch what he says, and I want to be able to translate it to them. But oddly enough, all he was talking about, he had erected swing sets at this beach, and that beach. He had installed litter containers here and there. And I thought, what is this? It sounds like a political campaign. Maybe he was running for re-election. I have no idea. Anyhow, then I began to wonder, where was there going to be a folk dance? Where there was no room here for a folk dance. How could that happen? So he was droning on, and I'd already given up trying to translate because there was nothing important to translate, and I was bored with his voice. But then I started noticing commotion in the other people sitting all around us. And I tuned back into him, and he was instructing us to all go across the street carefully and line up along the street. I think to myself, what is this? Is it a marching folk dance? Who knows? But people were moving so quickly, we really had to move quickly with them. So we're lined up along the street, and all the people are looking up the street in this one direction. So Mom and Dad and I are leaning forward, looking out in the street. Nothing. Nada. Tiputa. Nothing. And I thought, what in the heck? I couldn't imagine it. And then, all of a sudden, all together, all the people started cheering and clapping. Wah! And I still see nothing. And I see my dad, he's in this position, thinking, what the hell am I doing here? And then I noticed everybody was kind of looking up, and I look up. Oh my God, it was a traffic light. This whole thing was about this traffic light. Okay, it was not a traffic light, it was the traffic light. It was the first ever traffic light in Salamina. How I ended up misunderstanding, or what I think was there was 2 different messages that were going out, and I caught the beginning of one and the end of another one. Anyhow, there we were standing on the curb with practically the whole island applauding the traffic light as it changed from red to yellow to green. And I looked at my dad, and he was still standing like this. You being a smartass, knowing everything, Sherry. We spent 2 hours here. And then my dad, without cracking a smile, says, well, now we have seen the Salamina Sound and Light Show. We all 3 of us just died laughing. I mean, it was too funny not to laugh. And it was all my hubris at, yes, I can understand Greek, and I can do this, and I can do that, but That is not the end of the story. As Paul Harvey would say, now the rest of the story. Paul Harvey was an old time radio speaker. Anyhow, so now mom and dad have left. 10 years have gone by. My very good friends from here in Greece moved to England, and they're coming back for a visit. And they're going to drive to Salamina, the first time ever driving to Salamina. So I'm getting everything ready. And as it would happen, I was going to be doing another grilling for them. And the phone rings, and it's Elias. It's Maureen and Elias for their names. And Elias is calling from the car ferry as they're just approaching Salamina. He said, Sherry, give me directions on how do you get to house. Oh, I said, Elia, it is so dead simple. You pull out of the car ferry, you turn left out of the lot, and you just keep going straight until you come to the Sound and Light Show. When you come to the Sound and Light Show, you turn left until you reach the bakery, and you turn left, come up the road, and there's my house. Yep, that sounds simple enough. Well, it's about 7 minutes drive from the ferry to my house. 20 minutes went by and nobody was here. I thought, well, maybe they stopped at the bakery. I couldn't imagine where they were. The phone rings, and it is an extremely irritated Elias. Sherry, we have driven all the way across this island. I now have water right in front of my car. There's no further to go, and there's still no Sound and Light Show. Oh my God. He goes on, he says, I stopped and asked 2 times. Nobody knew anything of a Sound and Light Show. Tell me, where is the Sound and Light Show? Oh, geez. Oh my God. I almost laughed into the phone because it was absolutely ridiculous. I have told that story 1,000,000 times to 1,000,000 people, and I had not told it to Maureen and Elia. And here I was again, trying to be cute, trying to be funny. Yeah, you turn left at the Sound and Light Show. Now I had a very angry Greek friend on my hands. So I contained myself and did not giggle. And I didn't tell them when they got here. They found their way. It was easy enough. But after dinner and after cocktails, I finally told them. And of course, Elias let out a Greek, I won't say the word, but that is the rest of the story. And I hope I brought you some fun. I hope you found it amusing, and I hope you didn't hold in your giggle. And if you enjoyed it, please let me know and subscribe and come back soon. Ciao for now.